Hello students, today we are starting with the topic Unit 2 of um, Information Technology 402 Class 10th. The first topic of Unit 2 Web Applications is working with accessibility options. So let me give you a brief introduction about what do you mean by accessibility options. Accessibility options is basically about how friendly a system is or how friendly a computer can be as per the user. So what are the options that a computer provides or a system provides to make it more accessible to the user? What are the options? Like these are the, like if you can see here, these are the options available. These options are available in your system to make the system more accessible, more friendly for the user. So basically, if you go by the definition, computer accessibility refers to the user friendliness of a computer system for all, regardless of their disability. It doesn't depend on the ability of the user, but the ability of the system to make it more friendly for the user. This is mainly a software issue. However, at times a combination of software and hardware can also make it easier for the user to access or to use the system. That is mostly done in case of a person with disability or impairment. So here it is, when a combination of hardware or software is enables a person with disability or impairment to use a computer, it is known as assistive technology. So here it is mentioned there's numerous types of impairment that impact a computer usage, like cognitive impairments, learning disabilities, dyslexia, attention deficit hyperactivity, and many more. So these all are not much of any use. But moving on, where do you get the accessibility options? Where is it available? It is available in the control panel, and it is used to customize the way the keyboard, the sound, the display, and the mouse, and some other general features of a system. So it is available in the control panel, are used to customize the way your keyboard, display, or the mouse function. Many of these features are useful for people with disabilities, as discussed earlier. Already talked about it. Now, how can you launch accessibility options? You can launch accessibility options by going to Start button, then going to Control panel, and then the accessibility option. This is the path for Windows XP, and so I cannot show it to you here because I am using Windows 7. Now moving on, what are the accessibility options available? The accessibility options available is, the first tab is keyboard. Under keyboard you have got three different kinds of keys: the sticky keys, the filter keys, and the toggle keys. Sticky keys is basically an accessibility feature to help computer users with physical disabilities, but it is also used by others as a mean to reduce repetitive strain. Let's say if you are doing a continuous repetitive instruction, like let's say control copying a certain thing and then pasting it, or selecting a certain thing and then pasting it. So there are certain keys in the computer, in the system, in the keyboard, which helps you to reduce this repetitive function. Those keys are known as sticky keys. Like you uses with the help of the modifier keys, like Control, Alt, or Shift, or the Windows keys, and it remains active whenever any other key is pressed along with the modifier keys like Control, Alt, and Shift. You can enable the sticky keys as shown above. What you can do is, let me go to here. This is the first page. You can select use sticky key option here, and then click on apply, and then click on OK. So this function will be enabled. The sticky key options function will be enabled. Once it is enabled, it will be shown in the tray, system tray here. After having enabled the sticky keys, you can do a short experiment. What you can do is open a notepad and write anything. Like I have already written here, India is a country. I'll delete it. I'll write it again, India is my country. So what you can do is, like I told you, sticky keys are used in application with modifier keys. Those are Control Alt and Shift. So you press a Control button and then A. So it's Control A, and here you are using it as a sticky keys. You are selecting the entire thing. To select the entire thing, you are pressing Control A. You can again disable the sticky keys at the same way like you have enabled it. You go to the first option, and then you click on uncheck on use sticky keys, then apply, and then OK, and it will be disabled. Now the filter keys. Filter keys are basically a feature of Microsoft Windows. It is an accessibility option that tells the keyboard to ignore brief or repetitive functions, keystrokes. Like if you are doing something repetitive again and again, the keyboard or the system does not generate an error. So filter keys is a feature in the in Microsoft Windows which instructs the Windows to ignore any repetitive function being carried out, repeated keystrokes. So in the similar fashion like you enabled the sticky notes, you can also enable filter keys in the similar fashion like you enabled it. You go to the first option, the first tab here, you tick on use filter keys and then apply and then OK, and then it will be enabled. Again, once enabled, it will again show on the system tray. Now what are toggle keys? Toggle keys is also a feature of Microsoft Windows. It is an accessibility function which is designed for people who have vision impairment or cognitive disabilities. When toggle key is turned on, computer emits sound cues when the locking keys like caps lock, num lock or scroll key lock are pressed. A high sound is emitted when the keys are switched on, and low sound is emitted when the switched off. So basically it is basically used in case of anyone with this hearing disabilities. When you enable the toggle keys, whenever with this function, whenever the toggle key is turned on, the computer emits a sound when the locking keys like caps lock, num lock or the scroll lock are pressed. You can simply enable the toggle keys with a similar function as you have enabled sticky keys and the above sticky keys and the what was the above one, filter keys. Now the sound tab. Sound tab is again an option that is enabled to how the sensitivity, what will be the range of the sound that you want. Is basically again it is designed to help user with auditory impairments. Sound Sentry generates visual warnings such as blinking title bar or a flashing border whenever the computer generates a sound. You again can enable the sound key, sound entry key or the sounds entry key under the sound tab. Doing so activates a drop down list when you can choose the type of visual warning desired. So when you select enable sounds entry key, what happens is it generates a visual warning such as a blinking title bar or flashing border whenever the computer generates a sound. So you get a display screen at the display tab on your screen whenever any update is done in terms of the sound. So similarly you can enable it as you have enabled filter keys, toggle keys and sticky notes. You can enable the sound key tab also here. The option is here in use sound entry. Okay. Now this is what I was talking about. This was the cursor option, and whenever you enable the sound show sounds option under the sound tab here, you can see basically the applications to convey. Here look. So to disable sound entry, again you can uncheck the same option like you have done it in toggle keys or the sound key or the this filter keys and everything. Sound show sounds instructs application that convey information by sound to also provide information visually through text captions or informative icons. So when you enable this show sounds option, any instruction or any changes in command in terms of sounds or volume is done, there is a display button shown appears on your screen which shows the modification made to it. So it is basically an accessibility option that is made for people with hearing disabilities. Okay, so we are left with display tab, the mouse tab, and the general tab. We will cover this in the next topic. So as of now, we have covered this keyboard. In under keyboard, we have covered the sticky keys, the toggle keys, and the filter keys. In the sound option, we have covered the sound option, the show sound options, and the sounds entry option. So how to we have covered how to select it, how to enable it, and also how to disable it. In the next topic, we'll cover display, mouse, and general tabs. Okay, thank you.